Hi there. Happy Wednesday. It's been a few Wednesdays since we've jumped on board with one of these live streams. Happy New Year, everybody. Dave and I are here to discuss topics that we love to talk about, but also things that we hear on top of mind from some of our clients and people in our universe. And one of them is the topic that we're going to talk about today. And if this is all about motivating and aligning and focusing not only yourself, but also your teams as we move into 2023. And I think the key topic, which we have featured in our blog that will be going out this week, is the topic of uncertainty. And so, anyway, before we jump into that, I wanted to say that we're Dave and Laura Butler of Work Life Consulting. And we've had over 35 years, we won't even talk about collectively how many years of work in this space. And we certainly have dealt with a fair amount of uncertainty with our clients and with ourselves. I mean, that's life, isn't it, Dave?
Well, yeah, I think uncertainty is the order of the day. It has been for quite some time, but it hasn't quite been quite as bad as it's been lately. There seems to be uncertainty around the world. We're not sure about oil price, gas prices, wars. There always seems to be stuff going on out there, but I've heard a lot from our clients lately. It used to be complexity was the biggest complaint. Everything's so complicated. Everything's so complicated. Now I hear over and over again, it's uncertain. Can't make decisions. I don't know which way to go. I'm not sure what the best solution is because things are so uncertain. By the time I make a decision, everything's changed and I have to make another decision. So as a result, I sense a lot of trepidation, I guess, fear, creeping in. People are not as bold. They're not as willing to step out and say, let's go. We need to do this. Let's go. Let's get going. They kind of go, I think, well, no, maybe a little bit. No, not that way. I don't know, which is a horrible way to try and run a business or work together with people or build a team. People need to have some kind of something to hold on to. So I think uncertainty has created an awful lot of difficulty in the world.
And yeah, I agree. And just to remind people, we provide workshops and executive coaching on these topics along with several others. But our work is focused on providing the individual with the insights that he or she needs to then work alongside their teams and then support the organization overall.
Right.
And I think what's going on too is even though we can take a little breather from the pressure of COVID, it's still in the background. And I don't even know that I would blame, we hear stats and certainly things change all the time with numbers. But I think what's going on is the, okay, now what do we do mindset to make things, kind of grasping for that normalcy, whatever that is. And it's not there.
Yeah. Whatever
like
normal is.
Cliff. What's that?
It's hard to define normal, but
Yeah.
there's a certain amount of normality that's tied with certainty. If I know
Right.
that I get in the car and it starts, I can go someplace. If I know that I want to go to see Bruce Springsteen in concert, I don't have to worry necessarily about wearing a mask or not. But everywhere you go today, it's sort of, I kind of ask myself the question, should I put a mask on? Are they wearing a mask in here? Are we going out to dinner? What are we going to do? What do we take with us? I never quite know, what the bottom line is. There is no bottom line, I guess,
And
is
it's
what
also
happens with uncertainty.
not only a health related concern, it's, how do we, there's every article you see about retention is
Mm-hmm.
about this topic. Do we go hybrid or do we go all in? And I think there are people who are saying, that at least a hybrid method, approach has got to be the way. And also it aligns with this uncertainty and the way that we can embrace it moving forward by looking at the four uncertainty, what we feel are the major types that create this uncertainty challenge. And the first, right at the top of the list, I mean, just as an example, for us to prepare for these live streams, what goes on before we hit live, because it's the two of us, trying to pull together these online strategies, which are great. I mean, there's a lot that we have access to, but we have behind the scenes another recording going on, which our video guy will then work his magic with all sorts of video assets. And then there's this where we're trying to be the gurus and work the technology, me, and try to not lose my head in the midst of all of this. But not only for us, I mean, it's for everybody, because, for example, I pay attention to somebody who does some really great training on Reels, for example, on Instagram. And she prefaces the discussion, the video, by, I'm recording this video now, but tomorrow there could be something introduced on Instagram that changes the whole story. So we need to be very flexible with what comes at us with technology and embrace the unknowns of it, I guess is the way I'd put it.
The coaching you give yourself, embrace the unknowns.
Yeah.
Because every once in a while I hear, oh,
yeah, because it might be a difficult word.
Yeah. But technological uncertainty has been with us for quite a while, actually. There's been just a plethora of it over the 30 years we've been doing this. I mean, when we started with this, it's hard to remember, but when we started with this, there was no internet. So we can really go back. So, things started to come online in 1993, 1994. I can remember, the first time I tried to log on, and there was that little thing you plugged in, and it made all these funny sounds, and hopefully it did this something. And I mean, I had no idea what I was doing. I just, fooled around with it. But even back then, I think people were struggling with just trying to turn the computers on and trying to figure out what are we using today? How do I get my printer to work? I mean, as archaic as it sounds, I can remember struggling to try and program the VCR to record the programs that I might miss. VCR. There's people today, when I say that, young people look at me and go, V what? The VC what? So, that sort of technological uncertainty, just when I start feeling comfortable, I feel like I've got a handle on it. Something else comes along and there's another upgrade, and all of a sudden the button's not in the same place. And, that kind of technological uncertainty can make people feel, I think, for me, I guess the word I would use is incompetent.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be able to just log on, get everything done, make things happen, go to the right thing, go to the right file, and I just, it really kills your confidence when you can't even figure out how to get something printed. It's just.
Which leads to what we call political uncertainty, which basically is just when we think, it sort of ties nicely with technology, just when we think we've got our purpose statement clear, or our team charter, all the things that we recommend people to do, something happens where, we need to upgrade that or update that and be more in alignment with the current conversation.
Sure, so, constantly realigning. It's like trying to figure out what flag are we flying today.
Let your freak flag, as we used to say, fly.
good old David Crosby. He's left us now too.
Right. Yeah, another one we've lost. But regardless of that, it really ties into accountability, the political uncertainty. Yeah. I think this is where accountability is our friend.
Yeah, and accountable for what? To who? Who do I follow? Who do I believe? What's the set of rules? What's the mantra, the motto, the credo? I suppose. What do we believe? That's what I mean by political. If we could spell it right, it would be better. But
there you go.
Political. The political uncertainty is very difficult.
Well, I keep talking and I can change it. Shows you how amazing I am.
Happy to keep talking. Well, I have to keep talking because the political, when people tend to think, well, you mean Democrat and Republican, and yeah, that's politics. But political, really, the word itself comes from Latin, polis. I'll show you, really impress you now. But it means people. So political means anything to do with people, aligning people, belonging to a group. What's the logo I got on my hat? Who am I pledging allegiance to? What's the set of beliefs that we share? And it seems like that changes very rapidly. And we've over the years we've tried to spend extra time with organizations, helping them define their values, their mission, their purpose. These things are so important, but yet they seem to change. And then we just get it figured out, and then guess what? There's another merger. We have several clients today that are merging and acquiring other organizations.
Right.
Well, which flag am I going to fly today? It's hard to know which army I'm fighting with and where we're going if I can't tell what the direction is.
Well, and also it's the assumption is, oh, everybody will get on board. Yeah, well, some people, depends on what type of approach you gravitate towards. Some are okay because it's busy. Oh, we get to do a lot of stuff. Some have new people they can talk to, so they're thrilled. Some are, where do I fit in all this? This is a whole nother group that I don't want to really mess with yet. Hesitant. Yeah. And then some are, kind of figuring out what's the policy changes. How does all this? Right. So political has a lot that goes with it. And then our favorite, well, I don't know if it's favorite, but the one at the top of the list is financial. And
I know if I go check the bank account one more time, I'm going to throw up.
But that one, being entrepreneurs our whole lives, there's ebb and flow with all of that. And also there's those who we're all looking for some sort of security. But there's no guarantee. So the financial.
Well, it used to be sorry.
The financial uncertainty is alive and well when we hear the stories of, the markets and everything else. If we really paid attention to, we could get very upset. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say the financial piece of it sometimes is driven by outside forces. The exchange rate and the price of oil, and there's so many things that impact things. But people talk about them as pocketbook issues. The pocketbook issues of being able to buy food for your family. I've noticed, we send out for our food, a habit from COVID days. I mean, why chance it if you don't have to? But I've noticed lately what we used to pay maybe $75 for is now $150. It's just it sneaks in there. You don't even realize the price of eggs is double. Why eggs? I mean, I don't know. Chickens charging more to lay eggs. I can't understand what the problem is, but there seems to be this financial ups and downs and ups and downs. It's hard to know, where what to tie into. I've been looking for the best time to go buy gas. I went and bought a tank of gas yesterday. Thank God it was only $3.75 a gallon. $3.75. I mean, my God.
Right. And the final one is strategic. And, this is, we think about a 5-year vision. It's, it's almost like an impossible dream. How do we really look that far ahead? And, this ties into retention. And, they're especially we'll just keep talking. There we go. We're downsizing.
Talk about technological uncertainty, huh?
Yeah, exactly. The perfect example.
Either that or we didn't pay the bill for
downsizing of the actual facility is what they have to do because they can't find the people to work in the restaurants. So it's so I think what we now have to do more than ever, and the Gen X, Y, Z age group is much more aligned with mindfulness, purpose than those of us who are in the boomer age group. Not that we're not, it's just something, it wasn't really on the radar when we were entering the workplace. So now to have that as a possibility is I have to be aligned with something that means something to me. So as we boil these four up, when we look at technological, political, financial, and strategic, how can we help? We had said that this would be a discussion of how to focus not only yourself, but your teams. If you're sensing this insecurity and this uncertainty, one of the best ways is your own personal, if you're a leader or if you're a contributor, self-awareness is step one. And it aligns with overall emotional intelligence. It's the first step of the framework.
Yeah. Well, in a world of uncertainty, the one thing that I can work on is myself. I can be certain of my values. I can be certain of my beliefs. I can be certain of how I'm feeling. But it takes work. It takes reflection time. It takes knowledge of myself. It takes being willing to look at some things that maybe I don't want to look at. But working at that constantly and having that self-awareness allows me to adapt to whatever situation I find myself in. Without it, I'm really lost.
Right. And so the ability to be self-aware also moves into step two of the framework, which is self-management. And self-management is accomplished by over-communicating what's going on. So it ties back to that accountability. That provides people with a sense of direction and clarity when we provide them with accountability. But early on, when the pandemic first hit, there were leaders that I was working with who recommended that we, more than we ever did, because it wasn't really a habit before COVID, reach out and just ask people, how are you? Always have a check-in before every meeting. Where are you at today? What you felt yesterday may be light years away from what you feel today. What you felt this morning could be entirely different.
Right. And I think people tend to hesitate to over communicate because they think, well, I don't want to be, redundant. I don't want to repeat myself. I don't want people to think that I'm, not paying attention to myself and I'm telling them the same thing again. Most people only hear half of what you say anyway because they're concerned with their own uncertainty.
Right.
So it's good to over communicate, to communicate again, to touch base on the essentials. Keep it simple, but communicate again and again and again.
And the template could be just asking them where they are in these four, what seems to be the most impactful for them, and then create a game plan together for how you're going to help each other navigate through it. So it's it can be, uncertainty doesn't have to be this endless uncertainty. It certainly can be managed. So I think that that will give people the ability, as we think about this, you can replace your fear and doubt with aligning in that communication with a strong purpose, create a purpose statement, have the courage to keep that going, and that automatically will build trust.
Yeah, and I think this is where things like the vision and the mission and the purpose become so critical, not just to have some fancy looking thing on the wall, but something that people can really relate to. Right. Really make it come alive. What's that vision look like? What's it feel like? What's it smell like? What's it taste like? What's it like to be there? What's it going to look like when we get there? How am I going to feel? I mean, really try and make it come alive, because that's what gives people a sense of some certainty, even though what surrounds them may be uncertain. The more they can feel that there's a certainty towards our end goal, so to speak, it seems to at least assuage the feelings of uncertainty for a while, until I over communicate again, and we'll do some work on being self-aware.
So with that, thank you for either joining us live or being a part of the replay. please let us know which one of the four seemed to be the most impactful for you. Let us know how we can help. And we will close our session, as we always do, with our good friend Elliot Lewis, elliotlewis.com. He's written a terrific song called We're in It Together. And I think regardless of how much uncertainty is out there, we are certainly in this together. So till next time, it's great to be back too. I think we'll keep these going. And we're always happy to hear from you about topics you'd like us to discuss.
It's
See
my
you next
favorite.
time.